Hello everyone, welcome back and welcome to another video where today we're going over the best cars that we spotted this year, 2020, because this video should be posted by 2021. No, it should be posted, yeah, it should be posted by 2021. But
we're hopefully gonna post
well, posted on 2020, but you might be seeing it in 2021. So, why am I sitting over here? So, today's video we're going to go over the best cars we spotted. Obviously we haven't posted any of these videos, which we should have, but we will soon. We got around to it. We'll post some of the cooler ones anyway. So we have a list in front here of the best cars that we spotted this year, and we'll start going over them. So Nicholas here will present the list.
Alright, starting off, before we had the whole virus situation, obviously, we did go to Supercar Sunday once, which is like a local supercar cars and coffee event around here, and
how come I'm still sitting over here?
we went to Supercar Sunday once in early February, which was a supercar meetup event, which has been canceled ever since March, honestly. And we went there, and we saw some cool cars. There were like 100 or 200 cars because we live in California. There's a lot of nice cars here. But first off would be Liberty Walk 458 that we saw. That car was really nice. It was a pink, like metallic pink with white stripes. It had a really cool like wrap on it, I think it was. It had a big wide body kit with a ducktail spoiler. I think it had an exhaust, had crazy wheels. It was a really cool car. We'll put some pictures of all the cars on the screen.
Alright, yeah, you kind of covered it entirely. Yeah.
And then you also saw an Acura NSX,
which is the modern one, which is kind of interesting. Acura, I believe in 2019 or 18, Acura only sold 180 in the United States.
Yeah, they're not common.
So it's actually kind of an uncommon car, especially it's uncommon considering we only saw one this whole year, the modern generation anyway. I think we only saw one in the old generation anyway.
I think I've seen 2 or 3.
Oh yeah, well only one modern one, and compared to some of the other cars on this list, it's actually very rare.
Yeah. Even though the NSX costs much less than the R8 and stuff, so it should be more common.
Okay, next car.
Next up was a Mercedes AMG GLA, which sounds like a very boring entry for this compared to the rest of the list of cars. This was a Weissach one. It had been lowered, widened. It had crazy wing on the back, and you'll see it from the video essentially. Lots of carbon parts. This car I found really special. I found it was technically an AMG, but it was probably a lot faster than normal AMG. But it was one of the more interesting cars I've seen this year, and probably the coolest tuned car.
Next up, I guess I'm introducing a couple cars now. We have the Aventador SVJ. It's the first that we saw.
Yeah.
Never mind. This is never mind. This is the only SVJ we saw this year. Not the only Aventador, but the only SVJ,
which we'll get into later about the other Aventadors.
Yep. So the only SVJ has very nice green color. I'm not an expert on Lamborghini colors, but this is green, I can tell you. So the
Verde something.
Yeah, something of that sort. Verde Mantis.
Verde.
Yeah.
Mango. Wait, what?
Verde Mantis. I'm not sure if this is not that or not. Yeah, never mind. I'm not an expert on Lamborghini colors. So basically, yeah, it's SVJ. It's cool. Our channel's named after it. I don't think we need to say anymore.
Next up would be a Porsche 911 with a wide body kit. That was also at Supercar Sunday. This was an older 930 one. I think would be like a 80s or 70s 911. It looked really cool. It was purple, had quite the wide body kit, and it was quite a spectacular car to see.
Yep. This is 930, or I'm not an expert on what came after 930 generation Porsche 911, but I think it was either 930 or the next generation after that. But it was very cool, whatever it was. Okay, next up we saw I don't know, that sounds like kind of reporting back, but this happened so long ago what we saw this sound like. Next up we had the Ford GT 2005, or perhaps it's 2005 Ford GT is the right way of saying it.
Which is also at Supercar Sunday.
Also Supercar. This is basically his first list, the first part of the list is all this one Supercar event because it wasn't a lot. Well, there was a lot else. Well, this is most of it anyway. So the 2005 Ford GT red with white stripes. Not really too much else to say except it's a very cool car. Any comments?
Not a lot, except that it's a very cool car and that the doors are the dumbest one ever conceived.
Well, I've seen worse. No, I haven't seen worse.
Yeah, you haven't seen worse.
Okay, next up is the GT2 RS, which there were quite a few at this particular Supercar Sunday event.
We saw a few this year even.
Yeah, but basically this is a GT2. This is the spot on the list for the GT2 RS. GT2 RSs, I suppose.
We saw 2 at Supercar Sunday. One was very interesting red spec with not much carbon fiber. which was a very interesting spec. I wasn't the biggest fan of, but I think it looks pretty cool. And also it was an all black and carbon one with yellow headlights, which was a very cool one. Those cars are obviously amazing looking, and it's time to talk about seeing some cars that we saw at a different place. The car we saw was the Pirelli Edition Lamborghini Aventador Roadster.
And weirdly, this showed up in our neighborhood, which is not the place you expect to see one of these, but I believe there's only 15 in the entire world, so it's kind of weird.
15 Roadsters and 15 Coupes.
Oh, well, I think it was, well, I can't tell if it's a coupe or a roadster. Well, from the video we can tell. I never actually bothered to study that, so, okay, I'll have to look at that after.
Yeah, it was quite a nice car though.
Yep, very nice indeed. Pirelli Edition Aventador.
So, next up was the Pagani Huayra Roadster. Oh my gosh, did you guys saw Pagani Huayra? Well, it's because we live in California, obviously, and California has a lot of nice exotic car dealerships.
That's not obvious, but
And
nobody's not obvious in this room, but never mind. Go ahead.
anyway, and one of them is the the Pagani Beverly Hills dealership, which is quite a nice dealership, and that's a nice inventory. We didn't actually go inside that dealership, but outside there's a Pagani Huayra Roadster, which is one of the most gorgeous cars I've ever seen.
I'm sitting inside.
Sitting inside the dealership.
On the
There's a
outside
Huayra
of the
Roadster.
edge of the building. Yeah, never mind. You see the picture right here.
Yeah. It's one of the most gorgeous cars I've ever seen. Probably the coolest car we saw this year. I don't know if you would agree with that, but I think it was the best looking car we saw this year, and that was along with a second car we saw on that trip.
The next thing on this list is tons of Bentaygas. Technically, that applies to the entire year, not just this trip. It's not very interesting, so I'm not entirely sure why it's on the list, but it's on the list for one reason or another. Tons of Bentaygas.
Yeah, we saw lots of Bentley Bentaygas all over the place. They're very popular here, it seems. I mean, we saw a lot of Teslas, obviously.
A lot of Huracans, a lot of...
Not that many Huracans.
We saw, like...
The Bentaygas, there were a ton of Bentaygas.
Yeah, Bentaygas.
So the Bentaygas and the Urus. The Urus was very common too.
Macan.
Not like Honda Civic common, but we saw a lot of them.
Yeah.
We saw a lot of SUVs. There's the nicer SUVs are becoming quite popular now. Rolls-Royce Cullinan and everything. We kind of put them on the list because they're cool cars, but we saw a ton of them this year. But anyway, at a different dealership we saw.
So yeah, we have the Bugatti Chiron and the Bugatti Veyron. That is, from this picture you see here, you see a white Bugatti Chiron. Obviously you can't see the Veyron anywhere, and that's because behind it there's a Veyron. If you look closely, we'll zoom in here and then you can kind of see the Veyron's intakes in the back. You also see the Veyron has a really wide rear fenders that kind of come inward towards the front of the car, or as the car goes on, or you know what I mean. Basically, you can tell it's a Veyron back there. Very cool. Indeed.
Yeah, Chiron is a beautiful car, white with a black back. It was pretty cool. We also saw a Mansory Venatus, which was the silliest looking thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, no, I think we're missing the video for this one, so we don't actually have any video of it. The basically, yeah, Mansory Venatus, all black, reverse with like 3 spoilers and a thing. We'll put the picture of the Mansory picture here.
It was all black.
Yeah, it's a crazy thing.
Some more cars we have to talk about. We went to the same dealership again this time when we were driving around, and we saw some other cool cars that day. The only one we ever saw, the coolest one we saw driving down the road was an Audi RS6, which is very cool because we've not seen any other ones of this year, and Audi only has a few hundred in the US right now, so that was a pretty special thing to see. Another car we have to talk about that we went to the dealership which was by far the most special car this year, was
the Koenigsegg Agera RS Draken,
which is a one of one, if I'm not mistaken, special edition kind of one.
Now,
all Koenigsegg's are a special edition, technically.
Yeah, RS1 Draken. So yeah, it's a Koenigsegg Agera, but it's also the RS. It's also the RS1, which means the 1 megawatt power upgrade, and it's also the Draken version, which is inspired by Swedish fighter jets or something like that. Mm-hmm. So, not a common car. Very cool car.
The carbon was gorgeous. Every detail of that car is just spectacular. We'll show some video of it on the screen, obviously. And that was a absolutely beautiful car. And next to it, there was another Chiron, which was absolutely insane. It was a green carbon Chiron, which was the most spectacular color I've seen in a car. Looked at it, it's just crazy weave of carbon fiber. Bugattis are done so well. So are Koenigsegg's too, and Pagani's. They're all done quite well. For that price tag, though, they should be done well.
We have no indication of how much the Agera costed.
But apparently their values are multi-millions. Not
multi-millions?
I mean, is that a word? The values are apparently like 5, 6, 7 million, so that was an expensive car. Another one we have to talk about that was interesting we saw in the dealership was the McLaren 620R, which is essentially a 570S GT4 race car, made road legal. They're only bringing 350 of these in the world, I think. So 620R is very rare, and it was a pretty cool car, so we wanted to put that in there too. Another car we saw was the McLaren Lansante LM25 720S Special Edition. It's a big mouthful, but basically Lansante, which is the racing team that helped McLaren win the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 1996. They
Was it 96 or 95?
95 maybe, but they helped. They
Wait, 96.
do stuff with McLaren, so they took 25 720 25 or 50. Was it
50.
I think it was 50 720S's, and they did them in the special edition one, which we'll show on the screen. And they were pretty cool cars, but their rarity is what makes them really special. Another car we saw in the back parking lot of the Ogar Beverly Hills dealership was the McLaren 600 LT, and I'm putting this as a little bit of an honorable mention here.
Actually, it should be a main car if the Tiger was a main car too.
Yeah, it's been tagged as a main car too. It should be one of the main cars too. We saw a lot of 570Ss and 600 LTs. They were pretty common around here, but this one was very cool because it had red carbon accents and a roof scoop. It was one of the best looking McLarens I've seen.
Okay, next up, we have looking at my list here. We have the Porsche 918 Spider, which was spotted in some entirely random car meet that we happened to drive by. 918 Spider in wonderful green with the white sock package. I call it wonderful green because I don't know.
Wonderful green.
I don't know if that's the color.
Porsche, if Porsche is watching today, please make a color called Wonderful Green.
Yeah, I don't know what color this is. I'm not an expert on Porsche colors or Lamborghini colors, like I said. But it's a very nice, wonderful green color, and with the white sock carbon package, and carbon aero package, I should say, and looked very nice. We had 430s and stuff hanging around. Also a Hennessy Venom 650 Viper, which is definitely a very rare car.
Yeah. Also, a McLaren. A Porsche. We had a Porsche GT3 which is, I think it was Miami blue. That color, also in the parking lot. That car was really beautiful.
There's one car, Porsche color, you know.
Yeah, that's
You
one
know?
Porsche color, Miami blue. Okay, next up we have the
What's the
A12, the Performante, and the GT2 RS. Another interesting event that happened was on Drive a few weeks ago, where we saw A12, a Performante, and a Huracan Performante, and a GT2 RS, all in the same intersection. It was interesting because we were driving down the road and we followed a Huracan Performante around for a few minutes going down the street, which was an amazing car. We'll show some of that on the screen too. It was a lovely orange. Then and behind us there was a Ferrari A12, which was a straight piped example.
Which had straight pipe, but
it sounded like it had an exhaust.
It had an exhaust. It had straight pipe.
It had an exhaust. It sounded by the way it sounded, and it had gold wheels and lovely dark red. If the owner's watching today's video, you have a very good looking car.
And the best effects I've seen on A12.
Also, we had a very interesting situation later in the drive when we had the Performante in front of us and an A12 behind us, and the GT2 RS crossed by inside the intersection. I'll show a video of that too, which was quite crazy to be that big supercar kind of sandwich. And obviously the GT2 RS sounds amazing. There was also a BMW M5 there too, so there's a lot of cool cars in that kind of little group of them. I think it was just by random accident, but it was one of the cooler things that ever happened to us.
And the last two cars on this list are a Cayman GT4, Porsche Cayman GT4, and a GT3 RS.
The reason why I nominated
911 GT3 RS, not Cayman GT3 RS.
And the reason why I nominated the Cayman GT4 is this one was in a really beautiful spec. It was a dark blue color. I'm not sure what color it's called. Maybe I'll look it up after. And it had gold wheels. And it was the best looking Cayman GT4 I've ever seen. The Cayman GT4 is a good looking car, but that one was definitely by far the best. I mean, we also had the GT3 RS, bright lizard green, I think that one's called.
It's another color.
Yeah, in the dealership, and that was pretty cool. That was another very cool car. And one more car I also have to talk about that I forgot mentioning earlier was I saw recently. I don't have any pictures of it. A Novatec N Largo Ferrari F12, which was very cool, and that was one of the cooler cars we saw, and we've seen a lot of cool cars this year.
Yeah, of course. Like this year, we had obviously the new cars started to show up, so we've seen more Taycans appearing and more Defenders of the new version.
Yeah.
The 110s. I don't think we've ever seen in the 90s. We also
Tons
saw
of
a Bronco Sport.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. We didn't get that one on video either, but a Bronco Sport was an interesting one. We did see one though at the Ford dealership today when we were driving around, so it's possible that they may be selling dealerships right now. But so I guess that's it. We're probably going to show a few clips and pictures of some cars we didn't cover in this video because there were a lot more that were cool anyway, but we didn't really have enough time to mention. So we will see you next year.